When you think about it, very few people wake up in the morning and decide to try drugs for the first time. Most people use drugs because they have a good reason to. My mom was prescribed morphine by her dentist after she had her wisdom teeth removed. A friend of mine takes anxiety medication prescribed by her psychiatrist after a traumatizing experience. We need to talk about drugs because, in addition to the street drugs we've all heard about, like cocaine, prescription drug use is a common entry point that can escalate to bigger drug problems over time. At least know this. People often become addicted to drugs through no fault of their own. Maybe an injury takes longer to heal than expected. Maybe they have a genetic makeup that makes them predisposed to addiction. Maybe they felt overwhelmed by school, work, or just life and thought something could help. Addictive drugs influence the dopamine reward pathway in your brain. Dopamine is a chemical in the brain that communicates intense pleasures and reinforces learning to encourage you to repeat that behavior again and again. Addictive drugs have a stronger effect on the brain than things like food and sex that naturally trigger this reward pathway. Over time, the brain changes to expect higher and higher levels of dopamine that only the drug can deliver. It's not the same thing as really liking chocolate and just learning some self-control. It's a chemical rewiring the connections in your brain until it feels like you can't live without it. Even if you don't use drugs now, you might have to someday for a completely valid medical reason. The CDC rightly calls drug abuse an epidemic because deaths increase about 5% each year as drugs get stronger. Indiana is among the nation's top 15 states for drug abuse. People that use drugs are not bad people. A substance use disorder is a medical condition that can be treated with medication and counseling, and recovery is possible.